All right, so we have the Season 15 patch notes, which are going to be bringing you a new perk system. Loot boxes have returned. The new Zenyatta Mythic skin, a soft rank reset. You're going to have the new competitive weapon. We got ranks on portraits, the removal of Clash from the competitive map pool. Loot boxes. So loot boxes have returned. And starting in Season 15, you can earn up to 3 loot boxes every week by completing up to 27 games each week, with wins counting as double. Starting in Season 15, you can earn a free legendary loot box in the free track of the battle pass and an additional 2 legendary loot boxes in the premium track of that battle pass. Every loot box draws from a curated collection of Overwatch and Overwatch 2 cosmetic items. Each box will drop 4 items when opened. Loot boxes will prioritize giving you items you don't already own. If a loot box can't avoid giving you any items you already own, the loot box will instead grant progress towards a bonus loot box. At the start of each season, any unopened box from previous seasons will automatically open, and all items drop from them are added to your collection. Each one of these loot boxes has different drop rates on what you're going to get. Obviously, there's the regular loot box and then the legendary loot box, which will have obviously an increased chance, which I think the legendary loot box is like 100% chance to get a legendary. So, competitive play updates. We're going to have a skill rank reset. The highest ranks, Master, Grandmaster, and Champion, have been tuned to include a higher percentage of the player population once players are well calibrated. So after the reset, you're probably going to see more players in Masters, GM, and Champion. All ranks in Roll Queue and Open Queue and Comp have been reset to unranked, and all players will need to complete their respective 10 placement matches for each role. It gives you opportunity to kind of get out of that area you may feel like you want to get out of. So then you have the new Galactic weapon variants, which can be unlocked with competitive points. The Jade weapon variants also join the gold weapons. With the new like legacy points that you have, you're going to be able to get both Jade and gold. There's also going to be competitive weapon charms, so anybody plat and above will have a weapon charm. You could argue that they should do it for all ranks, but we'll see how it goes to begin with and how people feel about that. Ranks on portraits are now back, something that I've wanted to have back for a while, especially as a streamer where people are like, what's your rank? It's like, well, we're able to see it again, which is nice. Obviously, Clash is kind of having a bit of a rework situation, so if you don't see Clash in your comp games, that's by design. No more Clash in comp. We'll still have it in quick play for now. Some other general small updates here. They refactored ultimate voice lines to allow custom player-specific voice lines instead of also being heard by opponents. So this way it's a little bit easier to hear them. Mode-specific ultimate lines are now enabled to play game-wide for players with relevant skins equipped, like Warlock Ashe, etc. Custom ultimate lines are now enabled for several mythic skins, with more to come in future patches. That's nice to have. Previously unused custom ultimate lines are now available for several other skins, so you're getting a little bit more there. So it'll be nice to see that. Perks are now being introduced to Overwatch. There's a whole ton of lists. Every hero has 4 sets of perks. It's going to be both in quick play and competitive. I'm not quite sure how it's going to work in like things like mystery heroes and all that, but quick play and competitive. Perk progress is gained by dealing damage, securing the limbs, and healing your allies. Throughout the match, the rate at what you gain perks will gradually increase, making it a little bit easier. And when you eliminate an enemy at a higher perk level than you, that elimination is also worth more perk progress. So multiple ways to kind of gain perks or get back into it. When you swap heroes, your new hero will be set to level 1 with 0 perk progress. Your progress will be saved on any heroes that you play throughout the round, though. So there's going to be a couple ways to be able to select perks. So the standard selection is you hold down left alt on your keyboard or up on the directional pad for controller, then aim at the perk. But then they also have quick selection. You can also set your own bind-ins to select your perks. This is going to be really good once you know perks. So like once you play, let's say you play 100 hours of Diva over time and you know what exactly the perks are, you can just bind those, which I like that idea. I'll probably end up doing that. In competitive, perk progress will reset between rounds for Escort and Hybrids. And then when a match reaches 3 rounds for Escort and Hybrid, all heroes will have max perk progress for the rest of the match. Celebrate the debut of Overwatch's 2 game-changing perk system with the Perked Up event, available all season long. Take on challenges to snag weekly rewards, including up to 10 loot boxes per week and Rainy Day Mercy. You'll have Twitch drops of the Rainy Day May skin, so we'll be streaming a ton during that. And there's also support a streamer for the Rainy Day Tracer skin, which will be like 3 gifted subs to the select channel you want, which will be for everyone. And that will run from February 18th to April 22nd. Now we're on to hero perks. We're going to start with the tanks. Diva, Bunny Stomp, Call Mech damage radius is increased by 50%. I tried this. It's okay. Ejection Suit, Eject grants 75 temporary overhealth. Actually isn't bad. And then you have Shield System, convert 150 health to shields. Defense Matrix restores shields based on 25% of its damage absorbed. That's pretty good. In my opinion, like as a Diva player, like that means if you're a defensive Diva especially, or even if you're getting aggressive, it's a good thing to have. Heavy rockets, micro missiles are swapped for heavy rockets, which fire fewer projectiles with increased damage and explosion size. I did try it. It's something I got to get used to, but it was a pretty cool perk. Doomfist. 1-2. Hitting an enemy with rocket punch reloads all hand cannon ammo. Survival of the fittest. The best defense grants 25 overhealth from eliminations, and its max overhealth is increased by 50. So you're getting a lot of limbs. You're probably going to like that one. Then you have Seismic Empowerment. Hitting 3 or more enemies with Seismic Slam empowers Rocket Punch. And then Power Matrix, Power Block absorbs projectiles for the first second of its duration. They're both pretty good. I would say Seismic Empowerment probably is where I would lean towards initially, but honestly, I think the good Doom players are going to figure this out pretty quickly, so I think they'll be able to decide on that one. Hazard, off the top rope, a Violent Leap slash deals 30% more damage to enemies above 250 health. Good against tanks and some of the 300 HP heroes. And then Reconstitution, Jagged Wall hits Charge Spike Guard with 25 energy up to 50 extra. And then you have Anarchic Zeal. Spike Guard spikes gain 25% lifesteal. That's pretty good. To give you an idea, Spike Guard, you right-click, so you have damage reduction to go with lifesteal. And then Deep Leap. Violent Leap's range is increased by 20%. Probably more for comps that are a bit more aggressive. Junker Queen, Rendon Recall. Recall and Jagged Blade from a stuck target refreshes its wound. Battle Shout, Command and Shout, fully reload Scattergun, increases your allied reload speed by 50%. I look at it this way. I think one of those is more for like a selfish play style, and one is more for like if you want to work with your team more. I play both those play styles, so I like the option between those two. Then you have Deep Wounds. Scattergun hits extend your wound durations on those enemies by 0.25 seconds. Savage Satiation. Carnage's impact damage gains 100% lifesteal. Both of these, once again, sound pretty decent for Queen, so it's going to be more of like pick what you want type of situation. Mauga, Kinetic Bandolier. Overrun reloads up to 150 ammo while charging, and 2 hearts while on an objective. Mauga counts as 2 heroes and regenerates 20 health per second. If you're playing like Control, it'd be awesome to have that for Mauga, especially to have count as 2 and like get the HP on the point. So once again, a lot of like picking and choosing. Firewalker, Overrun ignites enemies hit, and then Combat Fuel, critical hits grant Mauga 2 temporary overhealth on Cardiac Overdrive's next use, up to 100 overhealth. And I think what's cool about this is, once again, it's multiple playstyles. You have an Overrun build, and you have more of a defensive like teamwork. Orisa, Heat Dissipator, primary fire, critical hits refund heat. If you're hitting headshots, you're gonna have constant uptime. And Fleetin' Bulwark, Fortify briefly grants an additional 100 overhealth when activated. Charge Javelin, hold to charge energy javelin, increasing its speed and knockback, and it pierces enemies at full power. Protective Barrier, convert Javelin Spin to instead launch a barrier. So you can trade your Javelin Spin for a shield. Ramatra actually has a really cool one. Void Surge, Void Accelerator, periodically releases a burst of 6 additional projectiles during continuous fire. I tested that, was pretty cool. Prolonged Barrier, Void Barrier duration is increased by 25%. I feel like in that situation, like Void Surge makes more sense a lot of the time. They've already mentioned that they're willing to go back and refresh some of these perks and change them. They're not like hard stuck on these perks now. Nanite Reaper, Ramatra is healed for 50 health per second while within Ravenous Vortex. I think that's a cool idea. But the next one I think is really cool, which is Vengeful Vortex, and I got to test this on stream also. While Ravenous Vortex is airborne, wow, that was a Boston accent. Use your whatever button it is again to detonate it. So whatever you throw there button-wise, you use it again to detonate, and then you deal 50 damage and you pull enemies downward. So to give you an idea, you can throw your vortex up in the air now at, let's say, a Pharah, hit the button, you do 50 damage, and it pulls them down. Reinhardt, Crusader's Resolve. While using Barrier Field, your passive health regeneration triggers 50% sooner. Fiery Uptake. Barrier Field is healed for 100% of Fire Strike's damage dealt, so you can have more barrier uptime. Then you have Shield Slam. While Barrier Field is active, use whatever button you have for that to damage and knock back enemies, which once again, if you've ever seen Brig Bash, very similar. And then Crush and Victory. Charge damage grants temporary overhealth for 50% of the damage dealt. Roadhog. Scrap Hook. Chain Hook hits reload 2 ammo. I hook people all the time with 0 ammo, so this will fix that. Hog Toss. Pigpen's throw range is increased by 50%. Invigorate, take a breather, rapidly increases Roadhog's movement speed by 30%, which is pretty funny. I tested it out just so you have a fast Roadhog. Hog Dragon Exposure, take a breather, also heals nearby allies for 50% of its healing. And during the interview, Alec had mentioned that like this was something they initially did with Hog during the rework, and it just didn't feel right, but it makes more sense in a perk system now. Sigma, I do love the idea of this, and as we're working on the Sigma guide, I've now had to go and update it because of the perks for Sigma. Kinetic Cycle, absorbing projectiles with Kinetic Grasp, also reduces Accretion's cooldown. Massive Impact, Accretion's knockdown duration, which is the rock, rock, duration increases up to 3 seconds based on travel distance. Pretty cool, like minor perks there. Hyper Strike, every 5 direct hits with Hyper Spheres, your next successful quick melee levitates and knocks away enemies. So you actually have kind of a self-peel for Sigma now. It's something I talk about in my guide that's coming out is like, you know, you don't want to have heroes in front of you, but now you have a peel for yourself. So say you have a Reinhardt and you can just hit that button. So it's pretty cool. And then Levitation, activate and hold double jump to briefly levitate upward. A great example of this is I always say I want to switch off of Sigma on second point Eichelwald. Well, now I have Levitation where I can get up to the high ground by going on that little like wooden platform and then go up again. I love the selection here for Sigma because I can decide between the maps, the comps, you know, etc. So it's pretty cool, and I think those are good perks. Winston, Short Circuit, Tesla Cannon deals 30% more damage to deployable objects. Honestly, I don't mind that because I need somebody to kill Torb turrets. Heavy Landing during Primal Rage, jump packs damage and area increased by up to 75% while airborne. Chain Lightning, fully charged secondary fire, hits bounce up to 2 additional targets. Revitalize and Barrier. Barrier projector heals allies within it for 30 HP per second. Wrecking Ball, Steamroller, roll impacts deal 100% more damage to tanks. Pack Rat, health pack heals an additional 100 health. Both of those are probably going to be pretty decent. I think Pack Rat will be the default, especially if you play backlight pressure. Hang Time, Pile Driver winds up longer, gaining air control and dealing up to 50% more damage. That was pretty fun to test. And then Transfer Efficiency, reactivating Adaptive Shield reduces its cooldown by 1.5 seconds per ally affected, and ally health gained is increased by 33%. That perk is the hello, teammates. I am playing Wrecking Ball, but I also am here. Sometimes you can't see the value of your Wrecking Ball. Now it becomes far more apparent. Zarya, jump ups, secondary fire's self knockback is increased by 70%. Best way to put that is you can rocket jump a lot better at Zarya now. And then you have Graviton Crush. Graviton Surge deals up to 30% of enemy max health as damage over time. It's a lot easier to follow up on your Grav. Energy Lance, Particle Cannon's beam pierces enemies while over 50 energy, which is awesome. And then Spotter, Projected Barrier activates ally health regeneration and increase their movement speed by 15%. This is one of these situations where you can kind of decide between, I want to be like this, and I say selfish playstyle, it's not necessarily what it is, a more aggressive playstyle, and then you have a teamwork playstyle. Once again, kind of giving you that choice of what you like. A lot of really cool ones. I'm excited to try them all out. So now we're on the DPS ones. Obviously, there's going to be a lot here. Ash, Rapid Fire. Unscoped shots gain 30% increased attack speed, but deal 15% less damage. It's like a trade-off, but it's good. Sidewinder, Coach Gun pushes Ash and enemies 20% farther, so you don't like people diving you, you can definitely take care of that now. Then you have Viper Stings. Hitting 2 consecutive scope shots on a target deals 25 extra damage and reloads to ammo. Airburst, Dynamite has a 40% increased detonation radius while airborne and refunds 3 ammo when thrown. So a lot of just like, a lot of less reloading with those perks. Bastion, Smart Bomb, A36 tactical grenades, self knockback is increased by 25% and no longer damages you. And then Armored Artillery configuration, artillery grants 300 temporary overhealth. Lindholm explosives, configuration assaults weapons, slowly fires explosive shells instead of a rotary cannon. And then self repair, you can heal yourself. So if you like that old style of Bastion, they're bringing it back at some of the perks. Cassidy, Quick Draw, Fan the Hammer shots are individually controlled and can crit for 50% more damage. Past Noon, Deadeye refunds 30% ultimate charge if it fully expires. Kind of a throwback to early Overwatch 1 days when you get your ult charge back, and that's what it was like. And then you have Gunslinging, critical hits with primary fire reduce the cooldown of combat roll by 3 seconds. Bang Bang. Cassidy throws a second flashbang that travels farther, but both flashbangs deal 30% reduced damage. A little bit of a choice there. I think Gunslinging will probably end up where you see more of that, but I could be wrong. Echo, Friendly Imaging. Duplicates can also target allies. Excellent change. Enhanced duplication. During duplicate, your clone's first ultimate extends to duplicate's duration by 3 seconds. I'll be honest with you, I think Friendly Imaging is going to be the go-to. Full Salvo. Sticky Bombs fires 50% more projectiles, but all sticky bombs deal 15% less damage. High Beams. Focus and beam eliminations reset flight's cooldown. That one's really cool because it allows you to be more aggressive, and then if you do get aggressive and get rewarded within a limb, you now have an escape. Genji. Acrobatics. Swift Strike resets double jump. And then Dragon's Thirst. Dragon Blade swings gain 30% lifesteal, so a bit more self-sustained during Blade. Blade Twisting. Swift Strike deals 25% additional damage over time when used shortly after an elimination, and Meditation regenerate 25 health per second while Deflect is active. Hanzo, Sonic Disruption, Sonic Arrow hacks nearby health packs for 12 seconds. Not even bad, that's pretty cool. And then Scatter Arrows, Storm Arrows split into 3 new projectiles on their first ricochet and bounce 2 extra times, so you got your scatter if you like. Dragon Fury, after hitting an enemy with primary fire, gain 25% attack speed for 1 second. Yamagami Technique, Wall Climb accelerates your lunge cooldown by 250%. You can basically get to places a lot quicker, a little bit more mobility, so. Junkrat, Aluminum Frame, Steel Traps throw range is increased by 50%. Nitro Boost, during Rip Tire use, use the button that whatever your keybind is for that, to gain a quick boost of speed. And when they say a quick boost of speed, it is quick. But the trade-off is you reduce Rip Tire's damage by 50%. I think it really adds a cool dynamic to where, like, yes, it's less damage, but you can actually get to your spots better. It's good against, like, spam comps. Then you have Frag Cannon. Frag launcher's projectile speed is increased by 40%, but its max ammo is reduced by 1. Basically, you get a much more accurate left click at the cost of 1 less ammo. And then you have TikTok. Concussive Mine arms 0.5 seconds after landing, increasing damage by 50%, explosion radius by 50%, and health by 200%. Next up, we have May. Chill and Reach. Primary fire's range is increased by 30%. Permafrost Ice Wall's duration and cooldown are increased by 2 seconds. Then you have Bite and Cold. Secondary fire hits slow enemies by 15% for 1.5 seconds, stacking up to 30%. And then Cryostorm, Cryo Freeze slows and deals 70 damage per second to nearby enemies. It's actually pretty good, and I was laughing about it because, like, imagine like a Zarya grab combo now. You get the Zarya to grab the increased grab damage, and then have the Mei just run into the middle of the grab, and apparently it can destroy lamps. You got yourself a new combo. Pharah, Drift Thrusters. Pharah can move while Barrage is active. People have been asking that for years, so good to see that there. Helix Shields converts 75 health to shields. Shields regen over time, so if you're a Pharah without a pocket, you have a little bit of opportunity now to at least have shields and like that quicker time to regen. Concussive Implosion. Concussive Blast Knockback is inverted to a Poland. Fuel Stores Jet Dash grants 50% fuel. Maximum overfuel is increased by 100%. Reaper. Death Shadow. Shadow Step reloads Hellfire shotguns and has 25% increased range, which is pretty cool. Soul Reven collects soul globes from dead enemies to restore 50 health. If anybody's an OG Overwatch player, that's what Reaper used to be like. Dire Triggers fire a volley with long range accuracy from both Hellfire shotguns. Ravenous Wraith. Leave in Wraith form grants 40% additional lifesteal for 3 seconds. You know, on top of the lifesteal you have now, that could be great. So when you come out of Wraith form, you have opportunity to still survive it and maybe finish that kill or heal yourself up. So it's pretty nice. Sojourn, extended mag, maximum ammo increased by 15. Pretty straightforward, you have more ammo. And then Overcharged, Railgun's maximum energy is increased by 50, while Overclocked is active, which is pretty cool actually, because I feel like that's gonna really just add another dynamic to that. So Dual Thrusters, Power Slide gains an additional charge, and its jump height shifts to lateral movement. Adhesive Siphon, Disruptor Shock can stick to enemies and generates Railgun energy when dealing damage. Soldier 76, Recycled Pulse Munitions, Helix Rockets reload 15 ammo if they damage an enemy. Field Emergency, Biotic Field's healing is increased by 100% on critical health allies. Even though the Healing Station one is cool, the Helix Rocket one's awesome, because I love hitting my Helix Rockets, and to be able to get ammo off of that, that's just more uptime. Then you have Agility Training, Sprint Speed is increased by 20%, and reload can be performed while sprint is active. And then Stim Pack, Biotic Field can be used as a Stim Pack, increasing attack speed and reload speed by 30%, while being unhealable for 4 seconds. It can be cleansed by Kiriko, it can be bubbled off, etc. Sombra, Viral Efficiency, Virus's cooldown is reduced by 3 seconds when an enemy affected by virus is eliminated. That one's okay. Control Alt Escape, teleporting with Translocator while at critical health initiates passive health regeneration. Both those are pretty cool. Like I said, the virus one, if you can get a limbs there, then you can probably chain that and you'll probably like be able to like see some really cool plays. White Hat, Hat can be used on allies to restore 100 health over 2 seconds. I'm just gonna go Healer Sombra, Support Sombra. Stack Overflow, Hack's silence duration is increased by 100%, but its range is decreased by 30%. Symmetra, Sentry Capacity, Sentry Turret gains an additional charge. Advanced Teleportation, Teleporter's range is increased by 50%. Then you have Perfect Alignment, Primary Fire's range increased by 15% with each additional charge level, which is actually it's a lot of range. Shield Battery, Symmetra regenerates 20 shields per second while within 10 meters of her teleporter. With Shield Battery, it's going to be used a lot, I think, but I think both of those are cool options. Torb, Craftsman, Forge Hammer can restore armor health to allies. Turret's repair heal is increased by 25%. If you have a Reinhardt, you can repair your Rein for a little bit. Fully Loaded, Activate and Overload, fully refills Rivet Gun's ammo. Both cool options. We'll see how they play out. Anchor Bolts, deploy turrets' throw range is increased by 50%, and it can now attach to walls and ceilings. You heard that right. You can throw it on top of a ceiling. You can throw it on a wall. It's pretty cool. Overload Turret. Overload upgrades your turret for 5 seconds, increasing its health and damage. One opens up more Torb turret spots, and one allows for you to be more effective with your Torb turret. Tracer. Tracer has blink packs. Health packs restore 1 blink charge, which is pretty cool. And then Blast from the Past. Pulse Bomb's radius is increased by 50%. Flashback. Recall restores all blink charges. You heard that right. You have no blinks, you recall, you have 3 blinks again. Quantum Entanglement, Recall grants 50 overhealth that decays over time. Onto Venture, Seismic Sense, while underground, Venture can sense enemies within 25 meters. To give you an idea, you can see through walls. I tested that out. Excavation, Exhilaration, while Tectonic Shock is active, cooldowns refresh 300% faster. Smarter Excavator, Excavator range is increased by 25%. Covered in Dirt, Dalen damage with Clobber grants up to 30 Explorer's Resolve shields, making it a lot harder to kill Venture if done correctly. So, Widowmaker, Scope Deficiency, Scope Shots cost 3 ammo instead of 5, so less reload time, more popping off time. Focused Aim, Scope Shots charge 50% faster during Infra Sight. Think about it as in like when you ult, you're going to have a lot more opportunity to get some value during that. Escape Plan, Scope Shots hits reduce grapple and hooks cooldown by up to 4 seconds. I mean, this is good if you want to just constantly be able to use mobility. Deadly Venom Mine gains 50% increased damage and a second charge, enabling 2 active mines at a time. Coming from the Venom Mine connoisseur himself, you give me an extra extra Venomine, I'm gonna do damage somehow now, because I'm certainly ain't doing it with my scope shot. There you go. So that's all the DPS ones. A lot of really cool options, and as you saw, a lot of choices. So I like a lot of them, and I'm excited to see what people can do with them. And then we're on to the supports. Ana, Groggy, enemies wakened from Sleep Dart are slowed for 2 seconds. And then Biotic Bounce. After exploding, Biotic Grenade bounces and explodes again for 50 damage and healing. Then you have Headhunter. This one's awesome. Biotic Rifle can crit enemies. And then another one that's pretty cool too. Shrike. Using Nano Boost, also cast it on Ana. Which means it just goes to Ana. If I Nano Boost my Reinhardt, we both have Nano. So you can actually use it sometimes to save yourself now. BAP, Field Medicine, Immortality Field restores 80 health to nearby allies and 40 health to Baptiste when destroyed, so just a little bit of a burst heal. And then Automated Healing, after placing Amplification Matrix, your shoulder turret periodically fires up to 12 shots at allies, each restoring 25 health. Assault Burst, Regenerative Burst grants 20% attack speed for 4 seconds, but no longer instantly heals. And then Rocket Boots, while airborne from Exo Boots, you can use whatever button that they have here on the notes to dash horizontally. Brigida, Barrier Restoration, Shield Bash restores 100 health to Barrier Shield when it hits an enemy. Morale Boost, Inspire lasts 3 seconds longer when activated by Whip Shot. That one is really good, by the way. And then you have Quick Fix, Repair Packs instantly heal an additional 35 health to critical health allies. Whip Lash, Whip Shots knock back and slam enemies into walls, dealing 50% extra damage. Ayari, Rapid Construction, Healing Pylon builds 300% faster, and its cooldown is now reduced by 1.5 seconds, so good uptime there. Summer Solstice, Ayari's flight time during Captive Sun is increased by 3 seconds, and her flight speed is increased by 20%. Solar Power, Fully Charged Rifle, hits grant 12.5% of your maximum solar energy, overfilling up to 50%. And then Sunburn Outburst ignites enemies, dealing an additional 70 damage over 3 seconds. Juno, Familiar Vitals, Pulsar Torpedoes lock onto allies 35% faster. That one was really cool. I had tested that. It's really quick. And then Hyper Boost, while using Glide Boost, passing through Hyper Ring pushes you forward. If I wanted to feed even harder, I'm going to use that one. Master Blaster, Medi Blaster can now crit enemies. It feels great. Once again, it's enemies, not your teammates. You don't crit your teammates, you crit the enemies. And then Reboots, activating Glide Boost resets double jump. Kiriko, Urgent Care, Healing Ofuda projectile speed is increased by 50% when seeking critical health allies, so if you're falling behind on heals, it just goes faster now. And then Fortune Teller, Kunai hits, launch 2 Healing Ofuda to an ally in front of you. Shuffling, Swift Step can be used again within 4 seconds of his initial cast. And then Foxtrot, Protection Suzu grants 40% movement speed to allies for 2 seconds. I kind of see that as more of like a way to be like, okay, Genji, or like a Reaper ult. Like you Suzu your Reaper as they go in, and then 2 seconds of movement speed. Pretty good. Life Weaver, Cleansing Grasp, Life Grip cleanses negative effects. And then Life Cycle, while alive, regenerate 10 health per second upon death. Drop a Healing Seed that heals allies for 250 health. Life Weaving, Rejuvenate and Dash adds 20 healing to your next Healing Blossom within 3 seconds. And then Super Bloom, Thorns detonate for 30 extra damage when enough stick within 1.5 seconds. Lucio, Base Blowout, Sound Waves knockback is increased by 50%, so you get more knockback. And then Groovin, you regenerate 4 ammo per second while wall riding. Noise Violation, Crossfade range is increased by 150% while Amp It Up is active. It's really good. Accelerando, Lucio's attack speed is increased by 50% while Amp It Up is active. So now, you can have some interesting playstyles there, one that can help your team, and then one that can make it a lot better for those like solo limb playstyles, right? I have a feeling I know which one Frogger's going to take, is what I'm saying. Mercy, Angelic Recovery. Mercy receives 15 health per second while the staff is attached to a full health ally. If you have that teammate who kind of goes out of position a lot and like it's harder to help them, at least now if they're full HP, you can heal yourself, right? And then Winged Reach, Guardian's Angel range is increased by 30%. So that's a good addition to have. Chain Boost, Secondary Fire links to a secondary nearby ally, meaning you can damage boost 2 people. Flash Heal, Resurrect can be used on the staff's active target to restore 150 health, and that's on a 15-second cooldown. Moira, Vanish, Fade's duration is increased by 0.5 seconds. That's a good escape tool opportunity. Uprush, Fade's jump height is increased by 50%. Ethical Nourishment, Biotic Orb's first 50 healing is instant on each ally it encounters. I did test this. It was really cool. A lot of complaints about Healing Orb is it kind of goes away a lot of the time. This allows you to get an instant burst heal, and it consumes that orb a lot quicker, so a lot, in my opinion, a lot less wasted Healing Orbs. And then Contamination, enemies being damaged by Biotic Orb receive 25% reduced healing. This could be really good. Zenyatta, Zenith Kick, Snap, Kickback, Knockback distance is increased by 30%, so more peel for yourself. And then Ascendance, activate and hold double jump to hover for up to 3 seconds. More mobility tools for a pretty glass cannon, non-mobile hero like Zen that's good to have. Focus Destruction. Secondary Fire charges 20% faster and can store 1 extra orb of destruction. And then Duality, Zenyatta's Heal Orb of Harmony targets for 20% of his damage dealt to Orb of Discord targets. So those are your perks. Obviously, I couldn't go into a lot of detail because there's so much information here, so I really kind of wanted to just showcase what they have, talk about what they have. You might have already heard them already, but for people who haven't, I think it was a good refresher. So let me know what you think. I'm excited for this. There's so much to learn about the game. I feel like I have a lot to relearn. It's going to be an awesome season, and to think that Season 16 is going to have even more, I'm just pumped. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to this. I'm ready to grind something even more so than I already have. So let me know what you think. I appreciate y'all hanging out during these patch note videos. I know we've changed them a lot recently, and I've seen nothing but positive responses to them. So we're going to continue to iterate and improve on them. But with that being said, I appreciate y'all. Like the video. Subscribe to all my YouTubes if you haven't. Leave a comment. All of it helps. Stop by. Obviously, we're going to have Twitch drops. Supporter streamers going to be all that stuff. So stop by if you haven't. I can't wait. And with that being said, I hope you all have an amazing day. Flash night.